everybody to the outdoor library. I feel like this is the first of its kind. It's at the Trading Post. I'm Emilia Ares. I'm an author. I write upper YA crossover romantic thrillers for anyone who's interested. Love and Other Sins series. I'm going to be moderating our talk today with the wonderful Luke Goebel. Luke is an exciting guest because he's an award-winning novelist and screenwriter who co-wrote Causeway with Jennifer Lawrence and Eileen with Anne Hathaway. His new novel, Kill Dick, published this year, is already on LitHub's most anticipated books of 2026. It's set right here in Los Angeles. It's 10 years in the making?
Yeah, that's right.
That's incredible. It's written as an act of grief and it's a direct action against the opioid epidemic. So to me, that makes it really important and worth getting to know. So please help me welcome Luke Goebel, everybody.
Thank you. People can just take books, is that right?
Yeah.
So grab a book. Help kill Dick.
Before we get into the book though, I just want to know, are you excited about anything right now in film and in music or anything that comes to mind that should be on our radar?
I'm excited about promoting and putting out this book. I'm excited about 5 movies that I'm working on and writing. Possible adaptation of this in the works. And I don't know, Johnny Blue Skies, my favorite singer. His new album, Mutiny After Midnight.
That's a really good
What
taste
about
in
you?
music.
What are you interested in these days?
I'm really excited about the indie film world right now, how Obsession has been making waves, Backroom, and I just love that all creators are getting access to put their art out there. And there used to be a huge wall, barrier to entry, and I feel like it's an exciting moment for creators of all socioeconomic paths to sort of put their artwork out there and get access to readers, viewers, share their work.
Yeah, everybody was like complaining that Hollywood was dead, and I was like, no, it'll open up a new channel. And I saw Obsession. I thought it was really good.
It was
really good.
Eerily under your skin, never forget about it.
What's her name, the actress? She's fantastic.
She's incredible.
She's like Mikey Madsen, like totally captivating.
I can't wait to see how her career blossoms.
Yeah, it was a really good film.
So you're not based in LA, but you're here a lot, right?
I spent the last 12 years living here, and I'm going through divorce, so I'm living in Palm Springs and in Portland, Oregon, but I'm in LA all the time, constantly here.
So if someone follows you around the city for a day, where would they actually find you?
Every day is sort of different. One day I'll be at the Jonathan Club having a ridiculous lunch, and the next day I'll be like, I don't know, in Boyle Heights. I'm all over the place.
To get to know the city a little bit. That makes sense because even with the introduction in the book Kill Dick, you can really sense how well you know the city.
I wanted to write like a grand LA novel in the sense, it's a thriller. It's a there's like a string of serial killings and the main character becomes like the female Luigi Mangione. But I wanted to write like a grand LA novel, like Day of the Locust or even The Shards, but more so like Day of the Locust, and that this book goes everywhere. We go from Skid Row to Holmby Hills to Brentwood to the East Side to we're all over town. So I wanted to paint a portrait of the stratified city of LA, the highs and lows, the luxury, the the decadence and the depravity, the victims of the opioid crisis. An LA novel has to have fires, it has to have inclement weather, it has to have cults, it has to have secret societies, it has to have a killer, it has to have tiled pools, it has to have, so this book does all of that, yeah.
You work both in books and film. Can literature borrow anything from cinema that you can think of, and vice versa? Like, what can films learn from novels?
I guess it depends on what kind of films, because if you look at European or international cinema, it moves at a different speed than American cinema tends to. But these are generalities, but I think that literature can learn something from pacing, from film, from American cinema, from mainstream cinema. Just look at Obsession. Every moment there's a lead up to a jump scare or a lead up to a moment of revelation where it's this is the sort of situation. I thought what was cool about Obsession, you tell me what you thought, was you take responsibility for a lover or a love and suddenly they're yours.
Yeah.
And if you destroy them or if they do something that reflects badly on you, it's you brought someone into your life that you're now, this is in a hyperbolic sense because he cast a spell on her, but it's that, that Freaky Friday, I wish, or big, and then it's uh-oh, now I've got someone and I've brought them into my world and I'm responsible for my, the relationship
it also reflects
it's dangerous.
Obsession with control and trying to control
say
somebody's desire and wanting to consume everyone's minds with yourself and then kind of regretting that in a way. I feel like art
Yeah, like
reflects
love,
life that way?
like is love like a supernatural force, and then if you get someone to love you, or if you love someone, do you lose like a certain agency and you take on a certain responsibility for that person? And what if it goes horribly wrong, right?
Well, it's the same thing as when you're an author and you want people to consume your work and like it, but you want it to get it out there. So there's a commercialism aspect where you're out here promoting your work, but you kind of want everyone to find it organically and choose you naturally without putting yourself onto them.
Do you mean like you change yourself in your work to appeal to to think about the audience, to think about like how people
That's the question. As an author, how much of your ideas are things that you wish is something you can read? And that's how you start off most of the time as a debut author. And then you get to the consumerism bit where you're thinking of the reader first. And you're thinking, what do readers want to read? And how can I cater to them? And where do you lose yourself as an artist when you write that way?
I mean, I guess it's the same kind of question about like pacing, or like what do you put in and what do you not put in based on how you think people will respond. But I mean, I always write for myself.
I was going to ask that
I'm always
follow-up
writing for
question.
myself,
When
yeah.
you're writing this, how much of it is something that you want to produce as an artist? And do you ever think about readers when you write?
I have like I'm so incredibly like ADHD, you know, like my brain, I'm like top 1% manic ADHD mind. So if I'm bored in a sentence that I'm writing or anyone else is writing, like I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm not going to stay very long when I'm like, okay, I can see what they're doing. I can predict where this is going. I've seen this before. Like I'm going to stop. And I also like, you know, I own half of a publishing company. So I'm constantly reading submissions, manuscripts that are coming my way. So I read a lot of, you know, what people are hoping they're going to publish. And
So you know what's working and what isn't pretty quickly.
I mean, yeah, having read as an editor for 12 years or more, like I've seen a lot of, you kind of see you know, like I know what this is. And then there's the thing where you're like, I don't know what this is, and this feels dangerous, and this feels real, and this feels like somebody's actual mind and experience, you know, coming through. But even then, it has to constantly be inventive in its sentence and you know, changing it up.
How many of you guys are writers? I'm just curious. Just raise your hand if you're a writer. Okay, we got a few. Okay, so
I like your shirt.
to help out our writers in the audience, and you know, you read a lot of manuscripts. What is something that you've read that is your aha moment when you know you want to purchase that book?
Reading something right now that somebody sent me that I feel that way about. The only concern is I'm like, does this have any AI polish on it? And I can't tell. And I'm like, shit, I'm getting old. Like I'm 45 and like the young kids, like they know. I think they know. I think they can sense it better.
Yes, there's a cadence.
There's like a thing where they're like, that's AI. And I'm like, is it? And I'm not 100% sure. And so I'm like, uh-oh. But I mean, that book is just like, I'm into it because it's a guy who went to war, got blown up, became an addict, started moving heroin across the border, and then is in a Mexican prison.
So plot.
It's just, well, it's real. It's a memoir.
Plot-driven.
And it's just like, it's well lived. Like he's obviously lived this life.
Are you a plot guy or a prose guy?
Both. Has to be both.
Has to be both. I agree.
But I guess if I had to pick, like, if I wasn't going to get one and I was going to get only one but not the other, I guess I would pick prose. What about you?
Yeah, both. I feel like if it doesn't have both, it's not going to be a good book, definitely. But plot first. If the book,
Really?
if the story is interesting and the prose lacks, I'm a very forgiving reader. I can kind of forgive it, but I'll get to a point where I'll just not finish a book if it's just terrible prose.
Somebody sent me this like 300-page graphic novel that they want to publish that's about after Sharon Tate died, after the Manson killings, like that her father went undercover as a hippie to try to figure out who killed his daughter. Did that really happen? Does anyone know?
Anyone? Anyone know the truth? We're trying to uncover
It's
the
really
truth.
good.
I was
It's
gonna
like
say,
a really
your novel
good...
reminds me a little bit of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, thanks.
Vibes, yeah.
I really liked that movie. And I loved Margaret Qualley in it. And she auditioned to be in our movie Eileen, to play Eileen. Eileen is the main character. She works in the boys' prison as well. And she's this sort of like awkward, nobody likes her. She's, you know, got her eating disorders, and she's just like in 1964, cold Massachusetts. Her father is horrible and abusive, and then Anne Hathaway's character comes in and like lightens up the whole world, you know, and she becomes infatuated with her. But no, the Eileen character, Margaret Qualley, said a
And what happened?
We went with Thomas and Mackenzie, who's amazing. But Margaret Qualley's so good. Did you like The Substance?
I saw a little bit of it, yeah.
You only saw a
She's
little
incredible.
bit?
She's
I love
incredible,
her.
yeah.
She's amazing.
So
I mean, she's got that kind of like slightly unhinged quality that I think is what I'm looking for when I'm reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like,
she's very interesting to watch because you're always wondering what is she going to do next.
Yeah, totally.
And that is the most exciting quality, in my opinion, in an actor, is when you're watching them and you're kind of afraid, you're not quite sure what they're going to do next. When I'm working on set with somebody, that's what I'm looking for in a scene partner, because I want to be afraid a little bit on my toes.
Yeah, like Jack Nicholson had that when he was young.
Yeah.
And actually his son auditioned too, and he's pretty great. But no, Margaret, like, she like just went off. She just like, she did the like taping, she read the, you know, from the script, she, you know, and then she just started like improving.
Oh,
and
amazing.
it was like wild. It was like, what am I watching? She's great.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So I don't know, hopefully Kill Dick has a little bit of that like, shit, where is this going?
I sense that. So in Kill Dick Los Angeles, it almost functions as its own character. Was that intentional? What version of LA were you trying to capture?
I mean, like, the short version is I was just trying to look at LA as like a mirror or a holograph to America, in the sense that like LA is always ready to rupture. It's always ready to burn. It's always ready to riot. It's always ready to, you know, like, tear apart. And that's the tradition of LA noir, but LA novels, you know, in general, like Nathaniel West, Day of Locusts is considered usually the first LA novel. It's got that sense like at any moment the city is going to riot, and then it does. And so I think that that's a good way of like looking at America, that like, you know, we are, especially when this book takes place, which is 2016, leading up to Election Day, it's sort of a fantasy of like what would have happened if instead of on Election Day Trump got elected. Like, what would have happened if sure that happens, but also, you know, a prominent CEO who has created the OxyContin drug and the opioid crisis got beheaded, and a series of other like insane riotous events took place, and like sort of somebody tried to correct the history that had happened on that day, right?
That reminds me of For All Mankind, you know?
What is that? I don't know.
So it's an Apple TV series, and it hypothesizes what would happen if the Russians got to the moon before us.
That's my dad was telling me about this. Okay, tell me more.
It's incredible. So all of history changes, it shifts, and it's all these ripples, like you're saying. What if someone else was president? So throughout every season, you're jumping forward in time by 10 years, and you have different presidents, and they're able to have the real presidents up there and make them speak.
Oh, cool. Like deep fake? Like deep fake technology?
It's totally
huh.
deep fake, yeah.
Okay.
And so you have a new set of musicians, a new set of films, and they show all of that in the beginning, sort of set the scene every first episode, and then it goes from there. And we're basically colonizing Mars by like season 5.
I guess like talking about deep fake or talking about like hyper reality, like that was part of this impetus for this book, is that I started writing it in 2016. It takes place in 2016. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it that year, but like there was this sense with Comet Ping Pong and QAnon and all the stuff that Trump was espousing, and, you know, Mega was espousing, that, and like kind of a way that we were engaging on the internet that was more intense and like different and more politically agitated from outside forces, where I felt like at the time there was like this fear that we wouldn't know what was real and what wasn't real. And now with deepfake, like I feel like we've actually gotten more literate. Like I was saying, the young people, like they know when it's AI, they know when it's, but you know, but there was this sense at that time, like what if we lose all reality? Like what if like we can't figure out, you know, the difference between our lives and our screens, and that sort of was also how LA works as a character in this book. Like everyone is a little bit tunneled into their own version of how they're a victim or how they have the right to be this awful person that they're being in this book. Like everyone in the book is pretty corrupt, you know.
Well, how much do we trust our main character, Susie, right?
I don't trust her at all, but I mean, I like her a lot.
Is she reliable?
I mean, I think she's reliable in terms of like, her heart is reliable. What she does is moral and heroic, I think, although it's compromised.
It's very like Draco Malfoy, right?
Right. I mean, I don't believe everything she's saying. This
How
book
much
works
of her
as
father's corruption has bleached into her is a great question.
Well, yeah, and you look at people like Luigi Mangione, and they come from a lot of wealth. Like people who tend to take action come from like situations where they understand power and they understand agency, and they're told that their voice matters. And a lot of people who don't have agency, you know, end up without recourse, without any way to like shape their world. So Susie's a character. The book works like this young woman who's 19, who's addicted to Oxy in her dad's backyard. Her dad is the primary attorney to Richard Sackler in the book, who makes OxyContin, just like Richard Sackler in real life makes OxyContin. She is an artist. She's a failed artist. She's hooked on her dad's drugs. She's 19, and she ends up like going down a rabbit hole, getting into secret societies, getting into a cult, being, trying to get sober, trying to put her life together. And then she ends up becoming a direct action artist who may have some involvement in these serial killings across town where the homeless and the addicts are dismembered in motels. And it's a way of saying there's 900,000 people who died from opioids. My brother died from oxy in real life. So it's a way of saying, like, we're not going to care about these victims, because we're so overwhelmed with media, we're so overwhelmed with news, we're so overwhelmed with Trump that, like, nothing gets through anymore. But if you make it sexy, if you make it cinema, if you make it Hollywood, if you make it a movie, if you make it body double, then suddenly the world's like, okay, cool, I'm into this. Like, it's content,
right.
It's Apple. And although Apple probably wouldn't make this, it's whatever, it's neon.
Neon in 24.
Right, so it was a way of saying, like, how do we get people to care about something that is real by making it something that is imagined, that is a cinematic literary version of that.
Yeah,
so
I discuss corruption in the foster care system in my novel, so I
which is very real.
Yes, I relate in terms of trying to make something that matters, but also that people can consume and really enjoy, because life is kind of depressing.
Everything's amazing, everything's incredible, and everything's terrible at the same time.
You want to have something. So this book is really funny, exciting as well. I feel like you were able to balance.
Thank you.
The gravity of the material that you're discussing, but also making it a wild ride for the reader.
Thank you.
But other than LA,
there are 50,000 kids in foster care in LA right now, in the LA area. I looked into this program called CASA. Have you ever heard of it? Where, like, people can come like advocates. So you get like one foster kid assigned to you, and then you go to like all the hearings about them, you talk to the schools, you talk to their doctors, and you become like their advocate. It's something that I was like about to do, and then the fires happened and I got a divorce, and I'm like not here right now, but I'll probably be coming back and like getting a place permanently in LA, and like something that I want to do. So if you're looking for a way to get involved, CASA, they're a really great organization.
Thank you for that. So outside of LA, what other cities do you think deserve a novel? And I wanted to open this question out to you guys as well.
LA is the birthplace of the noir, right? And I think that's because in LA, the reach of what happens in this city, pervades the rest of the world. Like we have, the media epicenter, we have the dream epicenter, like our stories, and we have a lot of power. So our stories, like what takes place in LA, and that's what I was trying to do with this book, they affect the whole world. Like the most obvious example of that is like Lou Wasserman and Jules Stein created the octopus. They got Reagan to be governor. They got Reagan, Reagan then went on to be president. Through Reagan, we get Roger Stone, and through Roger Stone, we get Donald Trump. Like that is a very quick line from, taking media and turning it into reality. So I think an LA novel can do things that a New York novel can't do, that like, no other place has the kind of that sense of it being able to tendril out to the rest of the world and have impact. But I mean, I love the New York novel. I like a San Francisco novel. I like a New York novel. I like an LA novel. I mean, obviously international. There's a million cities that are great for literature. What about you?
Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah? Yeah?
What about you guys? I wanted to ask in the audience what cities, just shout out cities that you would write about.
Yeah, where do you want to read a book set?
Yes.
Colorado?
Aspen.
Aspen? That's
Summer
a good idea.
or winter? Okay. Summer. I need to travel to Aspen in the summer.
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Why?
Great Lakes, so much happening. There's more shipwrecks on Erie, Pennsylvania than any other place in the world. And what a great name for a city.
Yes, Erie, Pennsylvania.
Erie, Pennsylvania. That's
True.
a great one.
Was it called The Persians? Was that the book that takes place in Aspen that my friend wrote? It's about like a wild Persian family in Aspen.
What?
With all the money and all the furs.
That's
and all
interesting. I gotta look into that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Unique. So what's the biggest misconception people have about Los Angeles?
That it's one thing or the other. Like you tend to get like the alt-lit, indie-lit young people, kind of, dirty, like East Side, and then that's LA for them, right? It's like it's all in Silver Lake, or it's all in, whatever, Eagle Rock. Or it's all like vapid, plastic surgery, West Side kind of stereotypes. And like even the people who have had a lot of plastic surgery and live on the West Side and are extremely rich are so fascinating. Like they're not, like the idea that they're like, oh, they're just vapid. It's like they're so strange. They're some of the weirdest people I've ever met.
Right.
And then like, there's just like the idea that LA is like one thing, that it's, that it's one part of town. Like, you go to, I don't know, like you go to West Adams or Boyle Heights or Inglewood, or you go to like, Pasadena, you go to like, you know what I mean? Like it's so many different cities and towns. And like, we are a factory town, we do make media, but there's so many other things. Like there's so much, it's like the idea that you could, and that's like what I kind of wanted to do, was like create a book that was hopefully in some way worthy of LA in all of its complexity. What do you think the biggest misconception is about LA?
Well, yeah, it's like what you said. It's a hub for immigrants, essentially. I'm an immigrant, and immigrants come from all walks of life, all over the world. They're some of the most hardworking people that we know, and everyone's here to fulfill their version of a dream. They all have their own cultures that they're trying to hold on to, but assimilate at the same time. And so there's nothing vapid about that. And people who grew up in Los Angeles, like I have, they know that, I think.
Yeah, see, I didn't grow up here, so I'm like an outsider. I just like am trying to take notes and like infiltrate and figure out how to write a book that captures LA. It was a lot of research. It was like, yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. LA has like a face that everyone sees and then the depth behind it. So it's a lot of like reality TV, like you see what they want you to see to entertain you. But the people behind reality TV are much deeper, much more complex than what they portray. Like Jessica Simpson.
I know
Paris
some people.
Hilton,
I know some people from reality TV. Some of them are pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Some are not, but some are.
So to shift a little bit about
Yes.
the craft, you've talked about anger being a driving force behind this book. And
Right.
when did anger become part of your creative process? Do you recommend it for writers? And so essentially the question is like, does Luke only write when he's angry?
Unfortunately, Luke is angry a lot of the time. I don't know. I mean, like I said, my brother died of an oxy overdose, so that was largely part of the impetus for, a book called Kill Dick that is about Dick Sickler, who's really very much like Dick Sackler, who makes oxy. So like in one sense, it's that. But then the weird, surprising thing is when I finally got to the character, the titular title, titular character Dick, like, and I actually we meet him for real in the book. Like he's like funny and weird, and like I didn't even exact my revenge properly. I spent so long writing it and working through. Somebody had a quote I saw the other day, authors perform exorcisms on themselves through their writing. Like, you like start out with this anger or this outrage or this sense that something needs to be said, and then you work on it so long and you find the beauty in it, and it transforms into something else, and it's no longer like rage and hate. It's like fascination and wonder. And you're like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be getting revenge. And when I finally get to the guy that I'm supposed to be getting revenge on in the book, he's like hilarious and perverted and weird and strange and like this kind of Shakespearean villain, that you're like, well, I kind of like, I can't only hate him. He's become art, which is I guess that's the pitfall of like making art, is that you're eventually going to turn it into something beautiful. Like,
That must be
even when
because
it's
you
awful.
wrote it, though, and there's goodness inside of you that you inherently
Well, that's
attached
nice. That's
to this
generous.
person,
Thank
right?
you.
To this like
I
horrible
don't know.
person.
Depends on who you ask. But I
Did
don't
you
know,
achieve catharsis writing this?
Yeah, I did.
That's wonderful.
If anything, I almost feel guilty that I achieved catharsis.
See, writers, this is your hope right here. So achieve your catharsis.
know.
Write about what you're
What have
pissed
I-
off about. I did that
Do you-
with
yeah,
Love and
tell
Other
us.
Sins. Yeah. I was really angry about the corruption in the foster care system. I feel like children are the most vulnerable out of all of us, and those are the ones we should be protecting, not ignoring. And the system is filled with people who care as well, so let's not get that confused.
Right.
But a lot of voices go unheard, and a lot of reports go unanswered. So there's a lot of work to do, and I just try to fight through my frustrations with these characters. And another thing I wrote about was just a message of hope. I just wanted people who have been hurt and scarred to feel like there is hope for them to be loved, and that you don't have to have a perfect past in order to deserve love. We all deserve love.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful. I'm a drug addict and I'm sober. My brother was a drug addict. He's dead. I have lived like very strange kind of journey to be where I am now. Like you asked me about LA, like I've gotten to know LA from the inside, working with, producers and actors and all these, amazing people. But like when I came to this town, I didn't have access to any of that. And when I was younger, I was like in and out of institutions and living hand to mouth and in vehicles and those kind of, just like living dangerously and sometimes captured by the authorities. So like, I wanted this book to speak for, like you're saying, children are the most vulnerable, but like everyone that you see on the street, you know, who is like, you know, shooting fentanyl or you know, burning the shopping cart into the sidewalk, or, you know, living on Skid Row, like those are kids who were not taken care of. You know what I mean? Like almost always that is a direct line from, like, you know, severe trauma to living in, you know, these kind of situations where there's no way out of the mental illness and the addiction cycles. So I wanted to speak for those people too, and like the book is full of those characters. And then also, like, you know, somebody made some family made $8 billion, you know, illegally marketing their pain medication and getting people addicted, which led to 900,000 dead. So it's like, and that's just one little microcosm of the kind of corruption and games that we see being played at the top. I mean, like, this president is making so much money for himself and his friends. And like, there are real consequences to that. And, you know, we see it all throughout our society, and it's sort of like, well, what do we do to push back? And so
this is what you did.
This is what I did. I made art out of it. So did my character, Susie Vogelman. She makes art. She becomes a direct action art, you know, making art happenings, and then becomes, you know, world famous and writes the novelization of how that occurred for her. But how do you see, like, advocacy? Like, how do people take action to help the 50,000 plus, you know, foster care children in LA? Like, was that part of your question?
I think if you have room in your home for a child, in your heart for a child, I think you can help in any way. And if you can't commit to something as big as that, I think like just there are friendship programs, you can become a mentor, and I see people do that. So I feel like this is a city filled with empaths. As much as everybody is lost, everyone here comes because they feel like they belong here, and we all belong to each other. And this is a city that brings people together, it brings creatives together, and it brings people who feel like outsiders in their hometowns. They feel in here.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about growing up in Los Angeles. All the outcasts feel like they're cool here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can break in.
I just want to serve a little bit to the audience and help out any writers out there with some advice about, let's say like someone's trying to write a novel and they keep putting it off for whatever reason. What's one piece of advice you'd actually give them?
Go adopt a foster kid. Give up on your No, I'm just kidding. People always ask that, like, what's your advice for a writer? Like, I have no idea, because the whole time that I'm writing a book, I'm in a crisis state of being like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if this is gonna work. I mean, so it's like, if you want it, if you can't stop thinking about it, if you're in love with it, like, it's like anything else. You just feed it. You just keep going to it. You just never stop.
Yeah.
I guess.
Do you believe everyone has a story in them?
I have no idea. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Everyone should write a novel.
I think everybody has a story in them, and it's just whether they can access
Oh, I thought
that
you meant like a
part
story
of their
that
mind
they should write.
That they should write, yes. I feel like it's a miracle that each of us are even here on this earth, and that each of us have experiences, transcendental ones, that maybe we're not aware that we're having them. And if we're able to somehow turn that into a story that can help somebody, we all have a story inside of us. I do.
So what's your advice to writers?
You're never gonna write a great first draft, so just forget about that notion. Your first draft is gonna be horrible. I'm sorry. And
So
no one's
do
gonna
that.
read it anyway.
You just write
so
it
that's
all
okay.
down. You
Write it
don't
all
don't
out.
like work. See, I do
Even
it, I do
if
it
you
differently.
don't know what's next, what I do is I'll write a parentheses like fight scene goes here, or like transcendental moment that will change your character forever goes here,
Oh,
and then
cool.
you just keep going. And
I'm
go
the
back
opposite.
to that later.
I like write the first sentence, and then I revise it, and I revise it, and then I write the second sentence, and I revise it, and I revise it, and then I write the third sentence, and I keep revising. Like I don't do just like the messy first draft.
That's
Which is
great.
probably why it took me so like.
No,
it
my
takes me
first
so
book
long.
took me 10 years. I
Yeah.
think that's what we have in common. 10 years seems like the
But I
magic
write
number.
more like that when I write scripts. Scripts have like TBD, or like, you know what I mean, or
Oh,
like put this
interesting.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next
Good
book
advice then
I'll
for
try
the
that
scripts. I'll
way.
do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'll
Thank you for
sign
coming
them.
out here.
Yeah, thank you for
To
having us.
speak
This is a
with
wonderful
us.
event.
And I just wanted to thank Karis from Litly for having me
Litly.
moderate this.
Yes.
Yay. Such a wonderful endeavor. Any parting words for our audience?
Kill Dick.
Kill
What
Dick?
about you?
Kill Dick?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.